And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Make HOAG Money. What is today? Today is Monday, the 23rd of January. Welcome. We got an interesting market for us to try and figure out something to do in today. This is me. I've been around for a little while and look forward to spending an hour with you guys trying to figure out if we can make any money for me. This is the CFTC disclaimer. Everything we do today is, of course, in the spirit of education. I'm not going to be suggesting the purchase or sale of anything for anybody. You guys are going to be suggesting it for me. Risk capital is the only thing we should be putting at risk in the markets, because these leveraged markets do offer the opportunity to lose more than your initial investment. We're not representing that anything is going to be made or lost today. Past performance is, of course, not indicative of future results. These are the rules for Make HOAG Money. Very simply, kindness and respect are expected above everything. Everybody has their own opinion in these markets, and that's what makes these markets so good, is that difference of opinion. I'm going to be asking a couple of people to talk today if they feel like it. We're all going to be involved, however, in the decision. And of course, if you are coming up with a trade idea, the context and reasoning behind that trade would be also helpful. We're going to use the chat rooms on YouTube and in Zoom to discuss these trades. Only those in the Zoom meeting will be able to vote. We are going to be focusing on the MES for opportunities. We're not going to trade just trade. We're not going to be taking losing trades, which, as we all know, is a joke, because taking losing trades is part of trading. And of course, feedback on Make HOAG Money is vital for its continuation and growth. Let me know what you think and what you like about it, what we can add, or what we should take away. You can send that feedback to jhoagland@topstep.com, JHOAGLAND @topstep.com. So we've got everybody here. Ted, good to see you. Kevin, Jimmy, Les, SR, Roosters here on YouTube. Rob, Ray Paradise, good to see you. And Rob P. has said he was looking for the afternoon pullback as a probe and M period to the highs, but the ADSPD is down by 50% from the AM, and more time is being spent below it. This morning, I expected a pop and then a drop. We had a pop, dig, pop, now drop. Well, here's the profile. The halfway mark here is right here, that half back pullback. We just had it. We're still looking for opportunities here. One of the things that sticks out to me here is we were unable to hold above last week's high. It was supportive a couple of times in the 30-minute chart here. That has now fallen. We're trading right at VWAP, which to me, probably not a very good location to look for trades. We're going to be patient here and see what happens. If I do have anybody that would like to talk today, I've got Vince here this afternoon. Good to see you, Vince. Zach, JM. Bill Phillips is here. Good to see you, Bill. Michael, good to see you. So what are we thinking about doing? Zach was thinking about shorting 21 to 14. So just we're below where we are now. Looking for the price to get down to 14. Same point, different views. put up the 5-minute here for a second. Is there a Zoom link in Discord? I don't think so. There very well might be. Here's the afternoon link for Make HOAG Money. The morning session has a different link to it, but here it is. Rob, if you want to join. Still looking for somebody who would like to talk. Somebody who maybe has been talking in the past, but hasn't in recent time. Zach says it's under the webinar thread on Discord. Hint, hint. I don't want to force anybody to talk. I can just sit here and blabber if that's what we want. So here we are. We've got a little bit of an area of balance, a little consolidation on the 5-minute chart just below VWAP. It would seem to me that if we're going to be trading balance rules, we might start thinking about looking for a short up near VWAP, but that's just me. I need to know what you guys want to do. Kevin on YouTube is saying he thinks the ES will run back up to 4044, all the way back up to point of controls here before the close. But for right now, we're just sitting on our hands. This half back level here seems to be a little bit buoyant. 4018, 4016.75 is our low here. Right here. And we're right in the middle of the range. We got a P-shaped profile indicating potential short covering. What do we have as far as delta is concerned? We have minus 270. Sorry, minus 2,700. This is not presenting as correct. I'm going to F-bomb this platform for a quick second here. Didn't think about what that would do to the streaming, but it looks like it's all right. Yep, okay. All right. 2,800, okay, so now we've got delta that's congruent with my other platform. So, little 5-minute balance we've got going here. The 30-minute, we're still, no gap close, no major changes here. What are we thinking? Michael is long from 48. Long here to 48, not from 48. My bad, Michael. Zach's still in favor of a short. So, Sacalafo is saying a 420 breakout sell, 4020. So, looking at basically the low of the area of balance we've been in here. Do we like that? No judgment. Sicalafo, is that how I pronounce that? I don't want to pronounce your name wrong all day. Sicalafo. Ponzi Zombie Killer ABC lower. Kevin, I can only join your Zoom on Fridays. Michael's end of the day bullish. Looks better for a long. Okay. Let's do the poll here. Do we like the idea of kind of looking for continuation below 40.20? You get some differences of opinion here on YouTube. It's all right. It's what makes these markets good. Les says, patience is part of it. We just finished a nice pullback. 40.20 sounds good for a short entry. I'm thinking 420 sounds kind of good for something. Oh, I'm sorry, 40.20. Kale is liking the single prints in B period filled here, but not excited about strength into the close. Looks like a solid P shape. I'm leaning long. Kale agreeing there. If we pull back above 40.30, which is weekly elevated weekly high, yeah, right up against the last week's high. Ben, weak low in A period against overnight volume point of control over double distro to the downside. A period. Overnight point of control. I don't think that has the overnight on it though. Hang on. Overnight low. Yeah, this is not the right spot there. My bad. Volume point of control from Friday. Overnight point of control. Boy, if we get there, that would be something, wouldn't it, today, Ben? Back in the initial balance, one time framing lower. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Ben's got something going here. Nice, Michael. Joe, it's pulling up. Everybody's long, except me. Ronald is saying 40.15 is pivot point. We've got a ways to go there. If it breaks to the downside, take a short. If it holds, long trade. If it holds, it's a long trade. So my brother Randolph is going to be out this week. He's down in Mexico with Winthorpe. So we won't see him tomorrow. I'm hoping our good friend Mr. Hoyt is with us, although I want to get him in a full session to really go over the pitchforks. A lot of folks seem very interested in those. Yes, must have been that gold trade. Yeah. Yeah, he's learned a lot, hasn't he? Ha ha. Michael says try long again. Where, Michael? Checking on the OJ crop, right, Mac? Here. All right, let's try. We're going long here. Do we like it? Vote. I'm just going to put a bid in and see if we get squeezed in here. Remember, we're not trading just to trade. Beeks is a good guy. It did not fill those single prints below, Kale. You're right. All right, so 58 participated, 76 like the idea of a long here. He's getting away from us, so I'm just going to bang into it. We're in it. Where is my stop, Michael? That's my target. 45 to 25. All right, we're in. Here we can see the orders here. Ah, 45. What target we looking for then? I'd be happy with 45. You like the point of control? Yes, point of control. So we're going 39 for the point of control. Voila. I was going to ask where 45 came from there. All right, so you're in better trade location than we are. Ben says short 30. I might need another account. It seems like, yeah, I mean, look where it traded back to, half back. Just mechanical. Which may be a point of weakness as well. Stop sharing. All right. So, well, we'll see what happens here. So my day started off with a loss. It's typical on a Monday, but I got that back on the move to the upside. Anybody see the magnitude of this upside move coming this morning? I don't know if I saw this magnitude, but I did. And the S&Ps there, that was certainly true. Here's the, the upside repair. So this was really where, my target to the upside was somewhere in this upper distribution from Thursday. Was that Thursday? Oh, from Wednesday. And that's really where a period ended. But we had some pretty good extension above that. I wasn't really looking at that. I was hoping for an opportunity near last week's high. Which we got. That's that purple line right here. We have not yet been able to accept above it. We have a little bit of a degree of excess, even on the daily chart. If we were to close now, there's that excess. Purple line's last week's high. This is interesting. We're going to have a close above this trend line. We have not closed above that trend line yet. Not one close. This goes off the all-time high. Comes across. A little bit of a aberration in the market here. This was CPI. But we haven't been able to close really above this line. It looks like we're going to. Is that a market state breaker? What do you think? You think closing above that line changes the market a little bit, technically? What do you think, Zach? Does that change our market state in one day? Can we do that? Ben says, no, it might be a fake breakout. Very well it could be. We've had a few of those. But if we can hold tomorrow, technically yes, fundamentally no. Powell is not ready for a bullish market. I was just watching the Secretary of Energy. She says they're going to start replenishing the Strategic Petroleum Reserve at $80 now. $80. They've come up from 70. Kyle's potentially depends on whose interest it gets for a long-term bull run. If earnings are bad tomorrow, watch out below. Frozen gum, that is a good point. We have tomorrow Microsoft, Texas Instruments, of course Microsoft is the biggie. Johnson & Johnson in the morning tomorrow, Verizon, Lockheed Martin, General Electric, 3M, Raytheon, a lot of defense contractors tomorrow. Those are going to be good. Yeah, I should have filled it up when it went negative. Unfortunately, it was full. That's the reason that happened. Government couldn't even store anymore. Jimmy Decker. Oh, don't worry. Our government knows exactly what they're doing. They're the adults in the room. Oh, my goodness. George? Lacey? George says hello. George says hello. She's lying like a frog. And she's like 6 feet long, this dog. Jeez. We are hanging tough here. We've been mostly in negative territory on this trade, but we are still hanging tough. I would have held it for him. There you go. Gonna put it in your pool, Vince. What's the volume at this time? Here's the 5-minute chart with the volume bars. It's not impressive. Not remarkable. We're coming into M period, that last 30-minute period of the day. We're going to find out one way or another if we're all right on this. We didn't get the best trade location, but yeah, a lot of dojis, a lot of indecision here. We seem to be holding VWAP at least for the time being. Yeah, a lot of reports later this week. GDP, PPI. Uh-oh. They're coming for us. There it is. Ben, good. You got a short on then. Good. Yeah, we're stepped out too, Michael. This is an area that I would probably not be doing anything for myself. Right in the middle of the range. Trend day, pullback. I don't mind down here. Jared, rising wedge. Time frame? Talking about this 5 minute? 1 minute? Yikes. So you got these highs, higher lows. Ben, of course. Yeah, I've been waiting for you to say you want to say hi and show your stuff here, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, our good friend Ben is going to.
Hello, long time no.
What's up? It's been a while. How are you?
Actually, not so long time no see because I've been lurking.
Okay.
Lurking here and there. I was trying to take some time off, and then of course when you try to get back into it, you find like you're out of practice, right? So there's that. So
Most certainly.
Work something out here so I can share my screen. I might get stopped down in a second. But I want to show on market profile why, I know the room was going long there, but I was making a case for going short, but it went against where I was thinking to get in. But then I reevaluated and I saw another opportunity, and that's actually worked out. I'd like to share just for, how do I do that? You actually share me, right?
Yeah, no, I just have to stop and then you can open up.
Oh, okay. Been a while. Let's see here. So I want to make this disclosure. Tell me if you can see the screen here.
We can.
Okay, so I'm in a practice account because I hit my risk limit for today in my other account. So I have it set in the parameters, and I screwed up this morning, and I went back in and widened it out a little bit, and I just did it again.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, I did it again a little bit later. So anyway, I switched over to this, but go figure. That's when I'm probably going to get stopped here. But so I want to show why I like to short. So, you know, we one time framed up, multiple distributions,
Mm-hmm.
it took off here. We've got sort of a reversal pattern right here, okay? And J and H, you got a high, a higher high, and then a lower high, you know? I'd like them both a little higher, but anyway, we have a pretty good high.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Some good excess there.
Yeah, excess. Really sold off hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got new shorts and things like that who are really trying to get paid lower. We've got a double distribution here. So you got DHIJ, and again, I'm kind of doing this for the benefit of people who don't, you know, they're still, you know, like you're doing market profile seminar coming up. So, you know, it's kind of like I like to share because this is my go-to thing, you know. So you got a double distribution here because you got it 4 wide there, then it comes down in single prints, and then it's 2, 3, 6 wide here, but you really want to look at this like a new distribution, like a new profile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's allowed, by the way. In fact, that can be really eye-opening to see, okay, what am I looking at? And like change your lens. So now you can see we're really moving hard to the downside,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's kind of like the early part of the day. Anything going against this, you're sort of calling a bottom in a sense, because now you've got a new auction to the downside, right?
Uh-huh.
We got a double distribution here. I'm sorry, let me hang on.
One distribution.
Distribution here, first distribution,
Uh-huh.
second distribution, L period, third distribution. Well, we kind of bottomed out here, came back up and sort of balancing. And when we were balancing inside the IP, I thought, boy, you know, we do have a weak low. So I'm looking at what's below us, and I call it a weak low because we didn't quite get, well, it's not as weak as I thought. I had this scrunched up, so it looked more like it was on top of it. But, you know, you got your volume point of control here. You got all this overnight inventory that hasn't been touched down here.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like, you know, we could see it roll over and flush, you know, the way it was coming down hard.
That would be quite the flush. That would be kind of that would be a major reversal pattern there.
It's not unheard of.
No, anything can happen.
And we still have time yet. But one thing I didn't like is that L period, when it opened here, it was coming up, you know, well, it was going down at first, right? But once it came out of the IB, then it's like, well, and I tried to short and I got stopped out. But then I thought, well, we got a ways to go before L period closes this double distribution. So I saw this volume here. Let me split off M period now because that wasn't, again, I'm talking just about the trade here. Saw this volume shoulder, right? And I thought, well, I could get short here, and maybe I was a little anxious. I got short right at 30.
Uh-huh.
I probably should have waited because you can see, and I don't know how much this volume built in L period, but I don't know. It wasn't a bad entry. So I got short here, and I was risking basically 3 points up to, or not 3 points, that's 5. I was risking the close of this distribution here.
Right.
Okay. And, you know, it came at me a little bit. Didn't like it, but, you know, it was struggling. And I held in there. And, you know, when it starts to, it's good to have a time stop, but I have to tell you, I'm not super good at that. Once I'm invested in it, it's harder and harder for me to get out. I'm just telling you my weaknesses, all right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, I've been in this. My adrenaline's been running for 10 minutes. I got to get paid for something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I hang in there, and then the longer I'm in it, though, the more 50-50 it is. It's like, I don't know which way it's going to go because, you know, what is it, algorithms picking each other's pockets, whatever?
Pretty much right now, yeah.
Yeah, you can see this back and forth. It's like, well, who's going to win? You know, I don't know. At that point, I guess some experience plays into it and things like that to whether it's worth sticking around or tightening up your stop. Anyway, so that was the premise. I wish I'd had this trade earlier today. I'd have been all right. But that was, you know, that's the lesson. After all the years of trading I've done, I still don't wait all day for a great trade. I still try to like to be doing something when I'm here, you know, and that's
Understood.
that's still a bane.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's that rule, you know, we don't trade just to trade, right?
Yeah, that's a rule.
For make HOAG money.
Yeah, right. That's true. That is.
Yeah.
It needs to be a rule for Ben Ramey. I'll tell you that. But anyway, so that's what I wanted to share, and I'll flip it back over to you.
All right. Thank you. Oh. Almost ended the webinar. And I didn't want to do that. Okay, so I like, Ben, what you were saying. If you want to split this profile at the letter, you see that the move to the upside left excess at the high, and we've got a new auction to the downside that is ensuing. You can do this on TS Trader as well. So it separates the volume at that period, and it separates, from I period. So when the market turned up here, if you do separate the profile, you get a new profile with the new auction in it. We auctioned higher, we left excess, we've been auctioning lower largely ever since. So you get a kind of a new picture of the profile from I period on when the market seemed to change direction. So while on the way up, we may have been finding volume shoulders to look for longs. Now we can start to see potential volume shoulders or distributions of time and volume to look for opportunities for shorts, if that's what we're into. So I can see where 30, this level up here with this volume shoulder, with risk through the single TPOs here in the eye on profile would be a viable opportunity.
Another thing, when splitting out the profile, you get a whole new value area, whether you're using the TPO or volume value area, and that can be informative too. That can help to shape what you're looking at or what you expect might happen next.
Yeah, because if we're looking at the value area for the whole session, volume value high is up here, TPO value high is here. We've got a long way to go before we're going to be able to get to that. But if we separate it when the auction changed when the auction changed directions, TPO value high is here, volume value high is here. That's a much better kind of opportunity to perhaps look for a short. It's going to be hard to manage the risk on that, but at least you see where the volume, value high has now moved lower since we put that high in and we've separated the profile. Would you agree with that, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely.
I forget about doing this, and it's something that, in this regard, is it's very helpful, because if you were looking at this excess is going to remain the high of the session, and you're looking for a pullback, you get the opportunity in short time frame to use these volume shoulders for your opportunities to try and get short. Get a low volume node right here. As soon as we got back up against that, it's an opportunity for you to look for a short, because again, it can help you limit risk.
So anyone using the profile, I forget to do it sometimes, and if you're trading and it's not working out, and you go back and sort of play with the profile and split it in different places according to where maybe you're not sure why you got run over or whatever, it can give you information. It doesn't have to be also like, you don't have to split it at necessarily where it's one time framing lower after that. You can just where you think something may have changed,
right?
And all of a sudden you get new information, just a different way of looking at it. I wish you could do that on other kinds of charts. I'm not sure how helpful it would be, but maybe.
I don't know. It's in this regard, it can be pretty useful for using the profile for that, right?
Most definitely.
Joe, if you hold your pointer over one single TPO, I can split it. I can put it all back together. But if you hold it over that and you left click, no, I don't want that. You hold it over that and you left click, it's going to tell you you can split that profile, you can split all the profiles, or you can split at that letter, TPOI, or you can merge the whole profile to the left. So we're going to split at that letter, and now we've got the separate profile. You bet, Joe. Yeah, Caesar, difficult trade. The trend line is based off a weekly close, though. So, in my view, tomorrow it's a big sell below 40.70, which is the BB upper on the daily. I'll be looking for a close below 40.25. Meanwhile, bulls can have fun above 4,000. So I think what he's looking at here is this trend line. I think there is some validity to the idea that one close above this isn't going to break the market state. Alrighty.
So another thing, again, I guess I like to promote the profile because it helps reinforce my own belief, and it's the best way for me to understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very curious because there was like 70% of people were wanting to go long, and I'm wondering how many of them were basing that on indicators and things like that. And everybody's got their different methods. I use some indicators. I know I just shared only a profile chart, but I look at a bunch of different things, but I'm curious as to how many people were not looking at the profile when they were talking about, maybe that's a better way to ask that, when they were thinking to go long.
Okay, so you folks thinking long, what instrument or indicator were you using to look for that decision? Michael was looking at profile in context of the entire day.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see that as well, I mean, there's a kind of a big distribution here. We're down to the lower end of that distribution. VWAP, Michael was saying VWAP. Kevin, a 3-minute super trend. Caesar voted long based on the 30-minute chart for longs. JM was looking at the profile. I would imagine a lot of folks were, you got value low here. You got volume value low here. I think it was a little bit of a longer look when you're looking at the profiles in value low and value high than I think Ben was looking at. Although Ben's looking at this time frame as well, right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's, you always get a little nervous, at least I do, the adrenaline kicks in. I guess people go on stage and give a speech or something. I find that whether I'm taking a live or a sim trade or whatever, it's always the same. It's maybe that's why I like trading so much, it gives me that feeling. But I didn't know, I didn't know it wasn't going to work, or that it was going to work. Right?
What do you mean you didn't know?
No, I had no idea. I mean, I could see the argument for going long. And
Sure.
I really was not enjoying the fact that it's like, because I put myself out there like, okay, I'm short 30. And I do that mainly to kind of keep myself accountable, because I could have looked like a real idiot. Like everybody else, made HOAG Money, made money, and I lost, right? And I've done that before, and I was like, no, I got stopped out, I'll tell you. But it's
Well, it doesn't make you an idiot.
Well, yeah, everybody likes to be right, but it also reminds me of like, gosh, why do I have to be the contrarian,
I'm
so much?
I'm always a contrarian.
Yeah, I mean, it spills over from, I think, real life into my trading. And I don't know, it's just always a bet against yourself, sort of,
Yep. And don't worry about feeling like an idiot. Can you imagine, Ben, and everybody here, if we were still doing this in the pit and everybody on YouTube and everybody in the Zoom meeting were standing eyeball to eyeball looking at each other? You make a trade and it's a loss. You've got 50, 100 eyes looking at you. How do you think that feels?
when you're in the pit like that, do people really, can they keep, it seems so chaotic. I know it's not, there's an order to it, but there's so much noise and everything. Can people really, are they really paying attention to what the other guy's doing?
That's
Like,
that's really the point. You feel like an idiot, but nobody else freaking notices.
that's true. It seems like your dad said something about that.
Well, yeah, that was, if you're mad at a bunch of people,
That's it. Yeah.
yeah, half of them don't know you're mad at them, and the other half don't care. And that's really what it was like. I mean, you could put yourself in a box and keep yourself in a corner and never do anything once you stepped into that trading pit because you felt like everybody was watching you. It's like the first time you had a couple of beers when you were a kid and you walk in and you just know your parents know.
Right.
They may not. My younger brother got busted a lot. I never did. Because I didn't stick around to chit chat. But, I remember, well, it's probably not a good example, but I was a runner, and getting to know the floor and getting to know people, and went out to lunch with some people, and somebody pulled out a joint at lunch. I'm like, why? What are you doing? You can't do that and go back and work. And they're like, why? We do it all the time. So puffed a little bit and went back on the floor, and I swore to God everybody on the trading floor knew I was stoned. They didn't care. But you just have that feeling like, everybody notices, everybody sees everything that I'm doing that's wrong. But is it wrong? I mean, everything's a probability. It's a hypothesis. If your hypothesis is wrong, so what? Look for the next one. There was a guy standing next to me in the S&Ps for a little while, and every time he'd take a losing trade, he would verbally say, "Okay, good."
Oh, you've mentioned this guy before.
Mm-hmm. And finally, I'm like, I gotta know. Not that I'm sitting here watching you, but every time you say, "Okay, good," you're taking a losing trade. And he said, well, I don't view it like a losing trade. I view it like I'm paying for some information. I'm paying the market for information. It's not a loss. It's teaching me something. So it's not, this business and trading can make you feel like a complete idiot sometimes. But it's not. A loss is it has nothing to do with who you are as a person and your intelligence. Believe me, I've seen some people I didn't think could walk and chew gum become great traders.
Now that is encouraging. Sometimes I do feel like, I mean, I was in sales a lot in my life, and you always was, you're only as good as your last sale, and that's how I feel a lot of times about trading. And I still do really, really dumb stuff. And it seems like some days are tainted with it. Other days it's like, oh man, I finally really hit my stride,
Yeah.
And maybe have a couple days like that. Then all of a sudden, it's like, what's wrong with me? I'm just like complete idiot. And it's very humbling,
Well, and it is. But one thing, Ben, I'd like you to start thinking about is improve the internal dialogue. Whenever we say we're an idiot or we're stupid or I should have done this or I could have done this or what the hell are you doing, it's not helpful.
Yeah, I guess I kind of do a bit of Napoleon Dynamite. Did you ever see that movie?
You know what? I haven't. Everybody tells me I gotta see it.
It's so fun. But he always is like, idiot, about himself. It's just, I don't know, it's a funny character.
Well, and it's okay, but you're gonna feel a lot better if you don't harangue yourself over every little thing that you perceive as doing something wrong or stupid or whatever. Nobody knows what's gonna happen here.
Yeah, I know you're right.
Nobody knows.
I went through a period where, I kind of opened my mind to that, and I'm like, okay, there's I had a partner I traded with all the time, and it's like, okay, winner or loser, share with each other what had a loser or whatever, and it's like, okay, we're not going to use the word loser anymore. We're going to have winners and learners.
There you go.
But sounds good.
Yeah. Well, I don't use the word failure. I use successful and not yet successful.
That's I like that. Yeah.
This is hard, man. This is hard. All right, we've got some buy MOCs coming in. 6 million, 6 million. Just now we had 637 million to the buy side, so that's our little pop here.
So where do you find that information again?
It comes up on financialjuice.com, but usually too late to take advantage of. But if I'm in a position, the early ones are my side. I'll usually stick with that position.
I see.
There were a couple of early ones that were really small, but sometimes there's 5 billion in MOC imbalances. Today's were relatively small, which I think is probably a function of the fact that we've got big numbers on Thursday and FOMC next week.
So you said 637 million, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure I'm looking at this right information
Yep.
here.
Yeah. It's really one of the only sites that I see those on. And I don't like subscribe to it, so we get it late. But if I'm long and I see the early MOCs on the buy side, that'll give me a little confidence to stay with the trade. Frozen gum. Did I do well the day I was stoned? I was not trading, thank goodness. I was only a runner. Some runners, we used to hang by the phone banks, and the phone clerk would hand you an order to take out to, February pork bellies. So you'd go out to Feb bellies and hold up the order for the deck holder to grab it, and you bring back fills, and it was the entry level job on the trading floor. When I was a runner, get this, Ben. I was a runner. My weekly paycheck was $98.
Well, did you get tips?
No. Hell no. No, you get $98 a week. My train pass for the month was $98.
Wasn't there a TGI Fridays right outside there?
There was a Bennigan's.
Bennigan's.
There was a Bennigan's in Presidential Towers. When I started on the floor, the Merc was above Union Station. There was a big black box on Jackson there. That was the trading floor. So
okay.
A lot of folks would go down into the train station and drink at the Faber's bars. Like Bluebeard's was one of them. The Iron Horse was one of them. So a lot of folks would drink in those places. Then when we moved, there was a place across the street, and then they put the Limit Up, which was a kind of a lunch place that had a bar attached to it. A lot of drinking went on in that bar, I can tell you that.
So my sister used to work at the TGI Fridays, and it was right outside. I'll have to ask her whether it was outside of the CME or the CBOE or something.
I don't remember one being by the Merc. It must have been by the Board of Trade or the CBOE.
I think it was the Board of Trade. I think about it.
But
did you know? What year did you start?
1983, I got my job as a runner.
So I had a friend who worked probably in the early to mid 90s as a runner, and his name was Rustum. You'd remember the name if you knew him.
Huh.
his sister and his brother-in-law lived right in it starts with an M. It's right by it's in Indiana.
Munster.
Munster, that's it. And he'd take the train in, and he worked on the floor there. And I know he wanted to work up to become a trader, and he never did, because I think electronic trading was hitting then, and he had somebody kind of sponsor him to do electronic trading, because I remember he was doing it back here now from his dad's office. Anyway, yeah, it's just it'd be neat to know if somebody knew him, but I know there's hundreds of people there, so.
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell, and I would remember that name.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I think we're about out of opportunities here. Thank you all for joining me today. Ben, thanks for hanging out and chatting.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Trade well, everyone. I'll be doing the market reflection here, and just as soon as I can get it ready, and I'll look forward to either seeing you there or tomorrow morning for the market prep and the early session of Make HOAG Money. I like the early session. So, Mike bought his first stock at 76. You're right with me then, right? All right. Trade well, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. And again, I'll see you shortly if you want to watch the reflection. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.